I'm gonna hit two birds with one stone on this one, right? So Alexander, Grace, and I have our disagreements with one another. I haven't voiced very many. I've actually attempted to make many responses to them, and then I've lost them over time. But me and Alexander, there's some things we don't see eye to eye on, and this is kind of one of them. It's a very long video. I'm not going to go through all of it, but I am going to, give you guys a good basic gist of this. Okay, and so Alex makes a prediction or a hypothesis that in the future, feminists or feminism will move towards the idea of polygamy. Right? If you caught the last video, I mentioned that stuff. Right? Polyamory, interestingly enough, is already something that feminists or liberal-minded people are already invoking, right? So now you can see two birds, one stone. So Alex believes that over time, feminism will morph itself into allowing women, I wouldn't say even allowing, but defending the idea that a woman should be in a polyamorous relationship or in a polygamous marriage or relationship, so to speak. I'm going to allow Alex to just kind of take us away so you guys can get a good gist of what he is saying here.
I predict that in my lifetime, there will be a shift in societal attitudes and a powerful movement to normalize polygamy, one man marrying multiple women. I'll go further. I predict that this movement will not be spearheaded by men, but by women. In fact, the right to share a man in marriage and to be one of many wives is going to become a rallying cry of feminism. Right now, that might seem outlandish. A man having multiple wives, that seems like a male fantasy, the ultimate expression of the patriarchy. Why would women, under the banner of feminism, ever push for such an arrangement to become normal? If that seems unbelievable to you, just take a step back and consider how much feminism has changed in the last 50 years. If you took a feminist from the 1960s and you put her in a time traveling machine to the modern day and you showed her what currently passes as feminism, she wouldn't believe it. I've got her in my time machine, I take her to the current day, and I show her interviews of pop stars who are dancing around on stage and in music videos dressed in barely anything, mimicking sex moves. And I tell her that these women are feminist icons doing it for female empowerment. Then I show her how women dress on a night out. I take her to nightclubs and she sees all the women in mini skirts and tight dresses and low-cut tops. And I tell her that any suggestion that these women should dress more modestly would now be considered chauvinistic. I show her Instagram and OnlyFans and tell her that there are women, even some of them teenagers, who are taking off their clothes for strangers on the internet and saying that they have never felt more empowered. The feminist from the 1960s would think that I'm playing some kind of practical joke on her. She's like, I'm not going to buy this. There's no way that this is real. This is a male fantasy world. These women have reduced themselves to the level of sex objects just to appease the male gaze. No, I'm not buying it. There's no way that this could be considered female empowerment. And yet, this is what has happened. And as jarring as it may be to that original 1960s feminist who wanted women to enter the workplace and to have a life completely separate to men, an existence that was meaningful and not defined by her relationship to men, this is what has happened. And what's more, I'd say it is entirely predictable, even inevitable. Feminism was always going to become a movement that fought for female freedom, a woman's right to choose whatever life she wants. Whether you're a female CEO or a mother of three or an escort, feminism has your back, because in feminism, the merits of your choice isn't as important as the fact that as a woman, you have a choice. And so when all choices for women are equally valid under the guise of feminism, it's not a surprise what happens. It shouldn't shock anybody that human beings are pretty lazy and we are inclined to take shortcuts if they're available to us. This is a truth about humanity. Women are no exception to this. And even the original feminists shouldn't be surprised that some women just aren't interested in climbing the corporate ladder. They don't want to put in that amount of work. Having a successful career requires years of effort and study and hard work. And so what happens if you destigmatize the easier options, like taking your clothes off for strangers on the internet or marrying some rich older man and living off his wealth, it shouldn't be a surprise that lots of women will take those options. So perhaps being a trophy wife isn't as impressive as being a CEO. You don't have that respect, you don't have that status, but you do have access to a lot of wealth, and it came about a lot easier. If you feel tempted to criticize a woman's choice for being a prostitute or being a gold digger, be careful. Remember that this is a woman's choice, and feminism is about respecting a woman's choice. You don't want to be anti-feminist, do you?
Now, I fundamentally disagree with Alex on several different areas. One, the fact that he believes that this is something feminists will allow in the future, when just currently, that's just already the environment of which we live in. Don't worry, I'll defend my conclusion. Number two, just the fact that feminists could be so absurdly stupid, there isn't really even a word of which I could use to properly articulate the degree of lacking in intelligence or self-awareness to ever in life encourage or allow women, as a feminist, to attach your life to one male and allow him to take care of you while he takes care of another woman. Like the literal embodiment of said patriarchy that they despise. I've insulted feminists before, but that's gotta be hands down the greatest insult to the intelligence of feminism as a movement ever. Ever. Just that, it would just fold in on itself and just become its own antithesis, right? I'm just, I think these women are delusional and insane, but I'm not sure I can even create a word of which to correctly articulate just how absurd that idea is, that any feminist ever would defend polygamy with the idea that it's just a woman's choice and it's okay for her to do it. You want to know how I know they'd never do that? Because there are women currently right now, like Abigail Shapiro and the girls at Girl Defined, who just say maybe you should get married and be with one person, and they get roasted. They get lambasted from hell and back. Just for saying you should be with one person and have children with them. That's where we live right now. No, never. No feminist ever in the history of life will ever say that it's okay for 2 to 3 women to marry one man and allow him to take care of her, and that's just her choice and her decision. They won't even let a woman marry one man. They don't even let one woman marry one man and then just accept that as an okay and acceptable relationship of which to have. God forbid they would ever defend that. That's inane. That is just beyond inane. But the thing that's more important to me, beyond just the greatest insult to feminism I've ever heard, I've insulted feminists, but god damn, that's just fucking dumb. It's the fact that Alex doesn't seem to recognize we kind of are already in such environment. Now, the environment isn't one of official marriages, officially the law being one of one male will have lots of wives, right? However, in terms of secrecy, on the down low, unofficially, we're already in that environment. We're already in an environment where women already are funneling up to lots of different dudes. And if women aren't funneling up to lots of different dudes, then they're using lots of different dudes to basically pay their way through life by being an internet prostitute. Let's just be real. If you're directly being funded by lots of different men, there ain't no other way of which to put it. Your whole life, it's just a curse. It's just a curse of man right there. I don't even know what else to tell you, fam. I don't even know what to say on that one, right? Which actually, you know what? Maybe I need to make another video and kind of really delve deep into that topic, but we'll save that for another time. But there was this one girl that I knew that I met some time ago who was a sugar baby to a dude that had a whole wife and kids, right? So if we want to go with that, technically they're not officially married, but we have one male, and then we have a woman, his wife, and then we have his side piece here. We're already in that environment. It's just not married. Maybe it's not socially acceptable, as if it really matters to individuals of whom have no integrity. like that means a damn thing to people. The only thing that it means is that people will be mean to them and hurt their feelings, but as far as actually being morally of righteous pretty people, it means fuck all. Really, it does. It does. The whole socially acceptable thing. I've seen lots of different women be okay with being sugar babies and just being taken care of by married men. We're already here. The future is now. Now, do we need feminism for that? I mean, feminism's already paved the way for. We don't need more feminism of which to defend women's honor, defend their choice to do this shit. I mean, if you're morally reprehensible, what difference does it make? Like, you don't need an ideological, maybe to help you sleep at night, perhaps, maybe for your own delusion, maybe for your own cognitive dissonance. But the long and short of it is, women are already funneling up to mostly dudes. And so here's the thing: if it's not just that whole sugar baby capacity, we still just have women, by and large, just getting passed around by the same dudes. And then this is actually, interestingly enough, a phenomenon that I had noticed way back in high school, right? Which was interesting, because I remember I was thinking about it quite critically back in the day, how I just noticed that the girls were all just bouncing between the same dudes, right? The same small pool of guys, right? It's just, and I couldn't really, I coined the 80-20 rule by myself. Like, I'm not saying that I'm the person, I'm not saying I'm the progenitor of it, I'm not. But what I'm saying is, it's a phenomenon I recognized alone. I didn't need any red pill advice or any big town to tell me. It was just something that over time I picked up on, that it just seems that women are just going for the same dudes. And I've also have clarified that it seems a lot of women's perspective on men is clouded in the fact that they're all just being bounced around by the same dudes. And I mean that, like, quite literally. Like the women, they're quite literally having sex with the same type of dudes. They are all funneling up to the same caliber of men. It's not even a joke. So again, if we're talking about polygamy, is it like official? Is it an official, I'm married, I have all these women? No. In practice, it is still one dude having lots of sex with lots of different women. Now, in a biblical sense of which you would speak, having sexual intercourse would represent some kind of marriage. That is how you consummate a marriage. So I guess if you want to stretch, and I mean like be like really, really stretch this one out, you could say we're being polygamous. One dude is having sex with multiple different women. I mean, is it really like in practice? No, but that's just if you want to really stretch it thin. I just wanted to add that in the video. The long and short of it is, that's just the environment that we're already currently in. And the environment we're already currently in is one of which women are just bouncing back and forth between the same douchebaggy guys that honestly just downright don't really like them, apart from the fact that they have a wop. We're already here, Alex. Which is why I find it particularly interesting that he would even need to create the theory or hypothesis of how feminists would allow this to transpire when the sexual revolution has already allowed it. And of course it's reasonable. When I say reasonable, logically of which I can deduce why this be a thing. And it all just kind of comes back to the same principles I have defined in earlier videos thus far, right? But maybe let me just sprinkle in a little bit of salt and pepper, right? So here's the thing. In an environment of which women believe, I mean they're wrong, but they believe that they don't need men, of which to take care of them or provide for them because they can have their own job and their own money. The only thing that's left is not the utility of a male as one of a protector and a provider, but one of only its emotional value to women. So women, at least younger women, desire one thing above all. And that one thing above all, I don't care what anyone tells you. If anyone tells you anything different, they're wrong. The one thing above all that young women desire is to feel special. They don't need lots of money. They really don't. Hypergamy is an interesting, funny thing. Because it all comes down to that one thing. They just want to feel special. They just want validation. And the best way to make them feel special is to conquer the mindset or obtain a male of which all other women want. That will make them special. I mean, it would. If this one guy who has a track record of running through women stops and only is with her, there has to be some value to her, that she has to be special in some capacity. I mean, logically, it makes perfect sense. Of course, the folly in that mindset is that they're not. But that's what they're going after. That's what they desire. That's what they want. Like their core. At the end of the day, I would argue that all women, at least when they're young, want to feel special. At least all women in my age bracket, they want to feel special. They want to be elevated above other women. They want to feel like they're different from other women. They want to feel like they have value, right? Now, the best way of which to obtain such a thing, or to look as if you're special, you have value, is if you're able to conquer the top individual males that are around you. So males are which the currency of which women measure what their value is relative to other women. It is their power level. It is their scanner. It is their scouter. That's what they're doing. So the reason why we have a dating market that is so funneled up to the top is because women are just trying to satisfy their one own desire, and that is to feel special. And you can't really be or feel special if you're just with some regular Joe Schmo dude who's an accountant. Like, it doesn't reflect any value upon you as a lady. It would certainly reflect your wisdom and your intelligence to pool the resources of one person consistently rather than fight with other women to get the sprinkles of another dude. But I'm not here to say women are intelligent. I'm just saying that they are ruled by their passions and their desire, and their desire is they want to be special. Logically, I get it. Of course, it works to their folly, because I'm gonna be honest with you, they're kind of dumb. Like if they're not dumb, then they're foolish. They're not wise. But the long and short of it is, that's why we have fostered an environment of which this be the case. Now, relationships have transformed themselves not into one that has any degree of function beyond just validation. A lot of relationships are just validation machines. They just exist to be around someone to make you feel good about you. Like when someone says they love you, it just means that you make me feel good about myself. When they fall out of love with you, it means you stopped making me feel good about myself. Because love to them is a very selfish emotion that just means I really, really, really like you. It's not something of merit, of honor, of commitment. It's not anything of those higher truths in the world. It just means you make me feel good about myself. You stop making me feel good about myself? Well, now I'm done. That's a lot of courtshipping between males and females is one of that, which, even I've been guilty of. We've all been guilty of it because that's what we've been trained to do. Blow smoke up a woman's ass while she's in your presence, and then over time, she'll like you, and then she'll want to date you. That's what we've been trained to do. That's what it is. We've created a validation machine, rather than we've created relationships that are supposed to be designed with some degree of functionality between them, or some goal, or some point, or some purpose to them. That's how we can have these it might be the best word to use, pseudo-polygamous relationships. Because, again, if individuals were crafting relationships of which, one, for functionality, is in it works well, you guys work well together, and you're trying to have a family, i.e. make children, you probably would not want to divide your resources between multiple families, or you probably wouldn't want to try to take care of multiple women. Probably not. Not unless you already had the resources to do so, and thus the polygamy thing would only be able to be applicable to individuals that are already high earners, or already, again, top percentage earners of males. It's not something that typical men would be able to do, and I'm not really even sure if it's something men would want to do in reality. Maybe you might have a fantasy, you might read a light novel or manga about it, but I'm going to be honest with you, dealing with multiple women, I have a headache dealing with one woman. I'm just going to be honest with you. I can't imagine that someone would willingly want to deal with numerous women. Godspeed to that person. I don't know. I guess he keeps his pimp hand strong, because goddamn, some women are just... I'm having flashbacks. I'm sorry. I'm going to wrap the video up. Point is, one, feminists will never, ever, 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 ever advocate for polygamy. Ever. Feminists might be stupid, okay? But they're not so undefined word used to describe their sheer stupidity of this idea or hypothesis there, okay? They're not that, all right? They might be delusional, but they're not that damn delusional. They would never do that. How do I know? They don't even accept when people just marry in a regular traditional marriage and just support that idea. They're not even okay with that. So, no, they never allow that shit. But number two, they don't need to, because we're already here. The future is now. We're already in an environment of which multiple dudes or one dude is passing around the same girl. Girls are being passed around by the same top amount of dudes. That's just, we're already here. We're already in an environment where dudes will be married and then they'll have sugar babies and have sex with them, right? And just basically have little mini prostitutes or side pieces there. We're already here. We're already in that environment. We don't need feminism of which to try to remove the stigma or anything like that, because any person who's already if you're already messing with a married man, you have no honor. You have no compassion, and you have no integrity. You don't need society to approve of it, because you have said be damned to having standards for yourself. Fuck, you need society to come pat you on the back for it. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's irrelevant. Point is, in conclusion, my friends, we're already here. We're already here. Is it wrong? Is it right? I don't know. But we're already here. So that being said, I assume you guys got something out of today's video. You probably didn't, but if you did, man, go and click the like button. Yeah, shoot. Go and click that. Subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. As always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.